U.S. Special Forces soldiers have evacuated all American government workers, their families, a small number of diplomatic staff from other countries from the fighting in Sudan. An operation that flew into the capital, Khartoum, by helicopter involved over 100 troops and is said to have lasted only an hour. These are fighters with the paramilitary group known as the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, one of the two warring factions in Sudan, the other being the Sudanese army. The White House says no one was attacked during its operation and that they pulled out just under 100 people. But other countries' efforts appear to be facing problems, despite pledges by the RSF and Army that they would coordinate evacuations of farms. On Sunday, the two sides were accusing each other of attacking a convoy of French nationals. Both said one French person was wounded. And the Egyptian government said one of its workers was shot and wounded, without giving details. This stranded student from Nigeria says they have no food, little water, and almost no chance of escape.
Is it like we are cursed or something? Like you see other countries evacuating their nationals, they're eager, they're showing that care, they're valuing their lives, but for us, our own country is just full of excuses. There is no hope of survival. Everyone is just running helter-skelter.
People who are not government workers, such as foreign students or local Sudanese, have a less clear escape route. Some countries are encouraging people to head overland to the port of Sudan for an evacuation by sea, such as this Saudi ship that recently returned from Sudan. The U.S. says it may deploy Navy assets to the port to assist Americans arriving there, but has warned it's a dangerous journey, and previously said it would not coordinate evacuations for what it calls private individuals. Other Western countries are expected to send planes for their citizens, but it's not certain when they may arrive.
The U.S. government may soon require natural gas-fired power plants to install technology to capture planet-warming carbon emissions. That's according to sources who spoke to Reuters ahead of an announcement that could come this week as part of President Joe Biden's push to decarbonize the power sector in the next 12 years. The sources said the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, is expected to unveil standards for new and existing power plants which belch roughly a quarter of U.S. greenhouse gas emissions. Utility companies may need to decide whether they want to build new natural gas plants with what's known as carbon capture and storage, or CSS technology, or zero-emissions renewable energy. Biden has pledged that the power business will decarbonize by 2035. According to the Clean Air Act, the standards must be based on, quote, the best system of emission reduction, technologies deemed affordable and technically feasible. And the rule will likely be written expecting a major legal battle. Republican-led states and the energy industry will almost certainly push back. But two recent developments could bolster the EPA's expected regulations. The Supreme Court ruled last July that while the EPA could not force a system-wide shift in electric power generation, it could issue plant-specific rules. And the Inflation Reduction Act, which Biden signed into law last summer, created tax credits, making carbon capture more affordable, including more than $100 billion in clean electricity tax incentives. A narrowly written requirement for new plant technology, paired with credits to make the upgrades, could blunt arguments that the new rules are onerous or represent federal overreach. Data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration show fossil fuels accounted for more than 60% of U.S. electricity generation in 2022, with 60% of that coming from gas and 40% from coal. Renewables accounted for a bit over 20%, with nuclear energy making up the rest.
Dozens of bodies have been exhumed in Kenya as part of an investigation into a suspected religious cult. The remains are thought to belong to followers of a Christian cult who believed they would go to heaven if they starved themselves to death. Police began exhuming the bodies on Friday near the coastal town of Malindi in the southeast of the country. The discovery of the mass graves is the latest chapter involving what police call the radicalized pastor, Paul Mackenzie. On April 14th, police rescued 15 members of the group. worshippers at the Good News International Church. At least 4 were found in an emaciated state and died while being rushed to hospital in a police rescue operation. Mackenzie, the leader of the church, was subsequently arrested following a tip-off that suggested the existence of shallow graves belonging to his followers. Local media, citing police sources, reported that Mackenzie was refusing to eat or drink while in police custody. The manager of a local children's home, Helen McCauley, who has been helping investigators, told reporters children were among the dead.
We have visited some homes in some villages, such as Bethlehem and Judea. And in the villages, you find some parents have lost all their children, or they themselves die. Personally, I have visited about 18 grave sites of children.
She did not say how she knew the graves contained the remains of children. The pastor was previously detained in March in connection to the death of 2 boys in the area, but later released. Police say on the pastor's advice, the boys' parents had starved and suffocated them. Mackenzie reportedly said at the time that he was unaware of the circumstances of the boys' deaths and was the target of hostile propaganda from former colleagues.